All right, good morning. Welcome in. Your SEC Insider Hit this morning is brought to you by the Ram Trucks, Jeep Grand Cherokees at Mac Hike in Flowood. Visit MacHikeFlowwood.com. That is MacHikeFlowwood.com for your pre-owned and new SUVs and trucks right there on Lakeland Drive in Flowood. This is 105.9 The Zone ESPN. We're streaming live on the Out of Bounds radio app. We want to welcome in Brad Henderson with Ole Miss Baseball and color analyst. Of course, had a great career as an Ole Miss baseball player. And Brad, can you believe that it's here and it's right around the corner once again?
It's here. It's a sunny day in Oxford, and the buzz has already started. And just can't wait for next Friday when we open up with Charleston Southern.
I'm ready. I'm ready. So let's start with the pitchers. I know there's all this star power in the lineup, but you know the drill. You got to pitch like crazy to get to the regional supers in Omaha. Derek Diamond Friday night. Then walk me through what you think it could look like on Saturday and Sunday for Mike Bianco.
Well, I obviously Derek's going to go on Friday, like you said, and we're expecting big things from Derek. We've seen it in the past. It's just been the consistency factor. So can you put it all together in year three? I still say year two because, the COVID year was his freshman year. But then I think they're going to look for a newcomer in Gaddis, Josh Gaddis. He's a transfer from Corpus Christi. He's a senior. A left-hander who had a tremendous fall. He's a competitor. And then they're going to either go to probably Drew McDaniel, who we saw throw some last year, or the Washburn kid, the transfer from Oregon State, a right-hander. I think that's who we'll look at opening weekend. Of course, things, you know as well as I do, it'll be a who performs and who doesn't type deal. But
sure.
I know Coach Bianco really thinks this team is a lot deeper on the mound than they were last year. We were so top-heavy last year with Doug Nikhazy and Gunnar Hoagland, and then, of course, we had Taylor Broadway on the back end. But there in the middle was always a question mark. And so they've got a lot of options this year that they feel good about. It's just going to be a matter of, when we flip the lights on, who shows up and can handle it and who can't.
That's some star power there with Derek Diamond, Josh Gaddis, and Drew McDaniel, and you mentioned Washburn. So that looks good. You mentioned Nikhazy. Just real quick, we had Tanner Allen on a couple of weeks ago, and we asked him who was the best pitcher he faced last year. And all the different teams that all of our teams face, right?
Sure.
He didn't hesitate. He said Doug Nikhazy.
Well,
right.
and then that says a lot coming from the SEC Player of the Year, who just was phenomenal the entire year, all the way through their run in Omaha. But I think it's one of those years with Doug that the longer it goes, the more special we'll realize it really was.
Agree.
It was just he was so consistent every time he went out, whether it was Friday or Saturday. He was just special, and Ole Miss was fortunate to have him, and obviously we wish him the best. But, anytime we ran Doug out there, it was almost automatic that we were going to win that game and win it convincingly. And it's a huge loss. But like I said, I think we've got some guys that can fill that role, and whether we can go out there and on a weekend and give up 2 hits and shut a team out like he did so many times, that's going to be hard to do. But you mentioned it earlier. We've got a lot of offense coming back that can probably overcome some of that. So it'll be fun to watch. And like I said, everybody's getting ready for it.
Brad Henderson on the Out of Bounds show. Ole Miss color analyst. Baseball 2022 season starts not this Friday, but next Friday. And Brad joins us on the Bucked Up Energy Drinks guest line. So, Brad, who do you expect to be the closer for Bianco?
Well, I think going into it, they'll probably turn to Brandon Johnson. kid that threw some mid-relief last year and ended up closing some for us last year. He's a hard-throwing right-hander. Now that he's got a year under his belt, I think it'll be his to lose. But again, early in the season with so many new guys, it'll all shake itself out. But it'll be nice to go to him early. He's a senior, but because he's got some experience and he showed last year that he could get it done. Now, on the flip side, that they're going to return, Jack Doherty, freshman who they kind of threw into the mix last year. And so he's going to factor in there somewhere as well. Now, I've seen him inter squad a couple times this spring, and they haven't really rolled out any roles as the season has approached. So I'm sure they'll figure that out. They'll inter squad again this weekend and try and get everybody in line for opening weekend next weekend.
All right, let's start with Hayden Dunhurst. He could be a first, second-round pick. You know this, Brad. Catcher is the premium position. We've got two great ones in the state this year. What are your expectations for him because he's an All-American type player?
Well, I think he's going to have to take control of that pitching staff. Obviously, this coaching staff has three catchers on it. Coach Bianco, Coach Lafferty, and Coach Clements were all catchers in their playing careers. So there's a lot of emphasis on that position, and Hayden obviously is extremely gifted. Everyone knows the arm is there and the defense is there, but I think they want to see him take more control of this staff. That's the one thing I've noticed in inter squads from a coaching standpoint, is when they want to make a certain pitch, they want to see Hayden lead this staff and make things happen and control us on the defensive side of the ball, which, in his first 2 years, he's done a good job of, but it's time for him to take that next step and really lead this staff who's going to need it. A lot of new arms, a lot of new faces. So we'll need him to be better than he has been, which is hard to say. He's an All-American this year. And then he's going to need to swing the bat. He kind of cooled off last year. A lot of people don't know this, but he had a thumb injury on his catching thumb, his left thumb, and had surgery after the season was over. So he's all better, missed some of the fall because of it. So hopefully a healthy Hayden Dunhurst will have a tremendous, tremendous junior year.
Brad Henderson on the Out of Bounds show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone, talking Ole Miss baseball. Guy that could be a big leaguer. You hit 355, still Jacob Gonzalez. So what else is left? What kind of upside? He's already proven he's a big-time player, Brad. What's next for this young man?
Well, I think he needs to be better defensively. He was, he was good last year. I want to say he had 16, 18 errors, as a shortstop in the SEC. And as a freshman, that's pretty good. But your elite guys are probably single-digit errors, 10 or less. And I think they want to see that from Jacob this year. But offensively, the guy's just special. He had 93 hits. I think that was second in the conference last year behind Tanner Allen, who had 100. And I think we'll see the power numbers, raised just a little bit from where he was last year. But just a tough out. I don't know where they'll hit him in the lineup. I think he'll hit 2 or 3 in the lineup. But special kid, special player. But, if we're talking about where can he get better, I think defensively, if he can be a little more sound at shortstop, then he can take us, ultimately where we're wanting to get to.
And would you say it's Elko's team or Dunhurst's team or someone else?
I think this is probably Tim's team. He was a second-year captain last year. It seems like he's been here for 9 years, but he finally started to come into his own a couple years ago. But, all these guys look to Tim. But not only Tim. We've got a lot of seniors. We've got a lot of guys that have been here. You look at, Kevin Graham, Justin Bench. Those guys have been through it. and offensively, that they are going to carry this team. I told somebody the other day, I truly think offense alone will win a lot of Friday games where, if we don't pitch it well, they'll bail us out, and I think they could be a team that on some Fridays when they're hot, when they're on, they can score 7 or 8 runs, which you don't see very often in this league on a Friday night. So, it's going to be a little bit different than last year where we knew what we were going to get with Doug and Gunner on a Friday, a low-scoring game, defense, pitching and defense and timely hitting. But, I think we'll hit some 3-run homers on Friday night, and we'll win some games that way.
Tell me about hopefully I get this name right. Tell me about Banks Tolly. Is that right?
That's right.
Pushing for a spot in the outfield?
Yeah. He swung it really, really well. Had a couple hits on Saturday when I went out there. He's a junior college transfer out of Meridian, and he swung it real well. It's just going to be tough because we've got so many returners, but we've got so many options as well. I think you'll see Tolly get some shots. I think Kemp Alderman, who's a sophomore this year, has had a tremendous fall, a tremendous spring. I think you'll see him get some opportunities as well. But, when you return essentially all 8 position players in the lineup, it's just going to be hard for some of the new guys. So, I think you're going to see another kid, Reagan Burford, out of Memphis, Tennessee, came to Ole Miss last year, transferred out at the semester to junior college in Florida, and he's back. I think you may see him play third base. So, there's a lot of options. I know Coach Clement, the hitting coach, he's looking for 1 or 2 maybe new guys that can just grind out at bats because you know what you're going to get from the other 7. So it's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be fun to see how it all shakes out. But, I think this could be an offense that, in all honesty, could be one of the best offenses that's ever come through Ole Miss.
That's saying something right there. All right, with Elko, were you surprised that he came back, or did you feel like because he tore his ACL that he would come back?
Yeah, I thought deep down he would come back. He loves it. Obviously, he's a fan favorite. The fans love him, and I think there was a little pact between he and Graham and Bench to go one more ride. They came up 1 game short last year, and obviously Tim was coming off ACL surgery, and it hurt when Gunner went down, and I think there's some unfinished business there that these guys want to give it one more shot. And I'm going to mention one more name that we lost last year early in the season. A guy named Max Chofie had John surgery and weren't ready to give it up and move on with their careers. So, like I said, be fun to watch, but I'm certainly glad they did, and I know Rebel Nation's certainly glad they did.
And let's kind of talk about one of the forgotten guys because there is a lot of star power back. TJ McCants,
Sure.
His range, his speed, what he can do at the plate, and what all he can bring to the table for Bianco, both at the plate and in the outfield.
Yeah, TJ had a tremendous freshman year. Kind of got thrown in the fire when Pate Jotnier went down, and ended up plugging him in center field and played a great center field. But just offensively, he was so special, and obviously a lot of postseason awards for TJ. And had a great fall. Still not sure where he's going to end up playing. Obviously, could play center field. They may put him in right. Depending on, how others play. But, yeah, he'll certainly be in the lineup, kind of that quiet assassin, I call him, But, that transition from your freshman year to your sophomore year is such the game sort of slows down after year 1. So, hopefully, the second, third-year guys, that deer in the headlights is gone, and they can just relax and play baseball of this puzzle for Ole Miss.
When you were playing for Ole Miss, did you go up to the Cape or another summer league?
I did. I didn't go to the Cape. Had an opportunity to go before my senior year and decided to stay in school and try and get some classes over the summer. But anyway, an infielder had gotten hurt in Alaska, and I went to Alaska that year instead, Wood Bat League out there. And but I played a couple of summers before that in New York. So, a lot of good baseball. But it was fun just to meet players from all over the country and form those friendships and bonds, and just play a little extra baseball. But, the Cape is obviously still probably the elite summer baseball league. But, I think the key is for those guys to get out and just get extra at bats, see pitches, and obviously with a wooden bat, kind of hone in on some of their skills.
What was that like going to Alaska? What were the
It was
fields?
awesome.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
It was a tremendous experience. I remember the first tournament we played in started at midnight. And, of course, that's summer solstice up there where they basically have no nights, and it started at midnight. The fields didn't have lights. So, we had aluminum foil over our windows because you couldn't sleep because it stayed light all the time.
Wow.
But, beautiful country. You saw a lot of wildlife, bears and elk and moose, and just beautiful country. It's probably one of those places I'd probably never go visit. So it was a great opportunity. Glad I had a chance to do it. And, and like I said, played with Kirk Sarloos, who's now the coach at TCU.
Oh,
and,
wow.
So you meet a lot of, guys that stay in the game, and you kind of continue through social media now with those guys, keeping up with those guys. But yeah, great experience, and obviously Alaska was a really neat place to visit.
He is Brad Henderson. Played at Ole Miss, had a great career. Ole Miss color analyst for the Ole Miss Baseball Network. He joins us on the Bucked Up Energy Drinks guest line, talking Ole Miss baseball. So, we already know how deep this league is, and it's the best league in the country by far and away. And now, what do you make of it as we add Schlossnagle at A&M and Jay Johnson at LSU, Brad?
Yeah, tremendous. It's good for the league. Two coaches that have been there. Obviously, Jay Johnson was at Arizona last year, where we played in the Super Regionals, and he brought a couple, some good players with him from there that are going to immediately impact LSU. Obviously, LSU returns some really good players with Cruz and Morgan, and then obviously the transfer from Arizona, Jacob Berry. So they're going to be, obviously get back to the LSU of old pretty quickly, I believe. And then Schlossnagle, obviously with the resources he'll have at Texas A&M, he'll have a little more work to get it back to where it was several years ago when they were making late postseason runs, but he'll get it there in a hurry. Really good recruiter, and then we're going to look up here in a couple of years and add Texas and Oklahoma. So this league is about to get, it's about to get scary good. But as a fan, that's what you want.
Sure,
you want to be able to drive to Oxford or to wherever your school is and see tremendous college baseball, and that's what we're continuing to get, and it's only going to get better.
Does Ben McDonald crack you up like he cracks me up on social media and just calling games, and just his personality and energy towards SEC baseball or college baseball?
Yeah, he's passionate for it, and it's so funny because he's just a country guy. He loves to hunt and fish, and he just keeps it real. But it's fun to watch him, especially on the network, but because he's an honest analyst.
He is.
Who really pulls for everybody. I mean, obviously he's a LSU grad, a former All-American there who was a tremendous pitcher for LSU, but he loves the conference, and he wants to see the conference do well. So he's an ambassador for SEC baseball. And, Mike Bianco was his catcher, so they've got a unique relationship and really pull for each other. But, Ben's been really good for college baseball and for the SEC.
All right, now that you're a couple years in, COVID clipped us a couple years ago, but are you ready for this 56-plus game schedule?
Yeah, I'm ready. Enjoyed every one of them last year. Did every game. And calling the games is obviously the job, but the special thing about it is getting to be around these kids. It's some of the best years of their lives, and you're able to witness that and see the highs and the lows and how they respond. And, it's just a quality group of kids that, that they'll get their identity just like last year's had their identity, and it's just neat to see them, overcome the tough times and flourish through the good times. And, you travel and get to see all these great, and then obviously on your home weekend, seeing people come in and support them. So, yeah, it's an unbelievable run. This will be year 3 for me. So obviously what Coach Bianco's done here, it makes it fun because he's had so many postseason runs and ranked teams that are, knocking on the door, come postseason play. So looking forward to it. Should be a fun year with a talented group of kids.
Real quick, what's your favorite town outside of Oxford that you've traveled to that you were like, I love this place?
That's a great question. We went to Athens last year, pretty special college town. Looking forward to going to Auburn this year. Haven't been to Auburn other than as a player. When you go as a player, it's just the field and the hotel essentially. So, Athens was really cool because you get to walk around and see downtown and see the environment. But as far as the baseball parks go, had a chance to see New Duty Noble last year, and obviously being an in-state rival, it was packed out that weekend and loud and exciting. So that was a fun time. I'm looking forward to going to Baton Rouge this year, seeing their new place. I know it'll be electric when we go down there. So, a lot of great college towns in this league. So, I'll get to see most of the other half this year. But like I said, it's so early. I hadn't been able to experience all of them. So I'm looking forward to it, Bo.
You're going to love Auburn. You are going to love Auburn. That town has exploded, and it is really cool what they've done. Brad Henderson, Ole Miss baseball on the Bucked Up Energy Drinks guest line, preseason top 5 and top 10 in the polls. Going to be an exciting year as first pitch is it's a week from this Friday in Oxford. And that place will be rocking. It's going to be excited. Now, we look forward to catching up with you throughout the year, Hindu. So,
Bo.
Had a great time last year. Thanks for jumping on today. And we'll hit you as much as we can throughout the season. Thank you, man.
Look forward to it. Thank you.
Brad Henderson on the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone, Ole Miss Baseball Network. And, Blake, this is going to be wild. This is that's a lot of star power here. Hayden Dunhurst, Tim Elko, Jacob Gonzalez, TJ McCants, and more for Mike Bianco. And then you got Derek Diamond and Drew McDaniel and more. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Out of Bounds, 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. Swayze will be packed next weekend. Hope we get some good weather, Blake, for Duty Noble and Swayze next weekend, but you don't ever know this time of year. We're live in the Bank Plus studio. The Out of Bounds Show is brought to you by RPT and Rick's Pro Truck.